talk about pyramids, okay? Now, pyramids are similar to our cones. Remember, our pyramid, our cone, not our pyramid, our cone went up to a single vertex at the top, and the bases were all, okay? So that's what we were doing on Friday. And most of y'all thought those were fairly easy because, like I said, you had a set formula for volume, you had a set formula for your lateral area, and you had a set formula for surface area because all of them are the same shape. They all have the same base, a circle. And we had our radius, which is halfway across the base. We had our height, which goes from the center of the circle base to the vertex at the top. And then we have what was called the slant height, which went from the top of the vertex down to the side of the circle. Okay, it's the height going down the slanted part. That's why it's called the slant height. Okay, and we talked about how that radius and the height and the slant height made a right triangle, and we had to use Pythagorean theorem to find the missing measurement. So we did all those on Friday. We had done like 6 or 7 of them together in class, and the remaining ones you were supposed to work on finishing on your own. Okay, now today what we're talking about are pyramids. Pyramids are similar in that they go up to a single vertex. Okay, so they only have the one base. This is called a square pyramid because it has a square shaped base. You can have different shaped bases for your pyramids though, okay? This one, the base has 6 sides. Does anybody remember what 6 sides are? Anybody remember? Hexagon, does that sound familiar? So this is a hexagonal pyramid because it has a hexagon shaped base. This one has a triangle base, so it's a triangular pyramid. This one, the base has 5 sides, so that's what?
Pentagon.
Pentagon, so it's a pentagonal pyramid. Okay, so you can have different kinds of pyramids, just like we could have different types of prisms. The base can be a different shape. You can have pyramid, you can have square, you can have hexagon, you can have triangle, you can have a nonagon, which was 9 sides. You can have all different shapes of pyramids, as long as they have a polygon base and they go up to the one single vertex. Now you'll notice on our pyramids, all of the faces of the pyramid going around the lateral area are triangles. Okay, it doesn't matter how many bases, how many sides I had on the bottom, each one of these faces is a triangle. Whether it's a pentagonal, a square pyramid, they still got triangles going around the sides. Hexagonal still has triangles going around the sides. So all of our lateral faces are going to be triangles. Now, if you look closely at your worksheet, you will be happy to notice all of them have the same shape base. All of these, if you look at the measurements on the bottom of the base of your pyramids, all have a square base. So we're going to use the same formula for every single problem. Okay? The same formulas for every single problem because they all are square pyramids. They all have a square base. Okay, so they're all going to be like this. Okay, so that makes it a little bit easier. Now, up at the top of the worksheet for your pyramids, it has your formulas there, but we're going to translate them now that we know all of them have the same shape base. Okay, so if you look up here on the board, I have the formulas already up here. 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. Now we already said the base is a square. So to find the area of a square, you take its side times itself. So when it says area of the base, that's just going to be the side squared. Okay, the area of the base is just going to be the side squared because all the sides are the same. Okay, now for the perimeter of the base, remember perimeter is the distance around the outside. So to find the perimeter of a square, you add all four sides together, but all four sides are the same length. So instead of having to add 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, or 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, you just take 4 times whatever the length of the side is. Okay? And then again, for our surface area formula, it's the lateral area plus the area of the base. We already said, though, our base is a square. So it is side squared. So we're on our pyramids worksheet, which was the back of the cones that we did on Friday, for those of you who decide to come late. Okay? So we have set formulas for these, just like we did on Friday. What?
Monica says she's having trouble logging in. That the password it says is incorrect or something like that.
Just gotta make sure the G, E, and O are capital and the W and the K are lowercase for the password.
Okay.
So just double check, make sure she's using the capital and the lower, because that's the most common mistake is. Okay, so we have 1/3 times the area of the base times the height is the volume. Remember when we're talking about volume, volume is filling this thing up. It's like how many pennies could I fit inside this pyramid? Or how many marbles, or how many whatever you could fit inside here. Okay, that's your volume. It's filling it up on the inside. Then our lateral area, remember, is the sides going around that are standing up. Okay, so your base is what it's sitting on. So my lateral area is for these four sides that are standing up. These are our triangles. Remember, we already talked about on a pyramid, all of your lateral faces are a triangular shape. So to do that, you're finding, basically, you're taking the base times the height for each triangle, right? The formula for a triangle's area is 1/2 times its base times its height. The base, remember, was a square, so we had the perimeter of the square. And then when we're talking about the height of these triangles, you're talking about the height on the outside, which is called your slant height, the one going up and down the side here. Okay, so we have our formula for that. And then for our surface area, we have lateral area plus the area of the base, the square on the bottom. Okay, so everybody's got their worksheet. We're ready to start trying to look at doing some of these. Yes? All of them that we have on our worksheet are square pyramids, so that makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so when we go to do this, you have to look closely at your worksheet. And for volume, it's 1/3. Remember the 1/3 because it goes up to the single vertex. Times the area of the base, which I said was the side squared. The side of the base in number 1 is an 8 on the bottom. Those sides of the square are 8. So I have 8 squared. Times my height of the pyramid. That's the one that's going from the vertex at the top straight down to the base, which it has over here on the side is a 3. So you just multiply those together. Now, these we don't have pi in there like we had on Friday because they're not a circular base. We don't have to deal with pi. So it's just 1/3 times the area of the square times the height of the pyramid. So 1/3 times 8 squared times 3. The 3 should end up canceling each other if you know anything about multiplying your fractions. So you get the volume is 64. Okay. Now, for our lateral area, remember that's the 4 triangles that are standing up on the pyramid. So it's 1/2 times the base perimeter, which is 4 times the length of a side, so 4 times 8, times our slant height. Now the slant height is the side that's leaning up on the pyramid, and you'll notice on the picture it is labeled that it's a 5. So it's just learning where the stuff is on the picture so you can put them into the formula. So I multiply this out. 4 times 8 is 32. Half of 32 is 16. 16 times 5. So my lateral area is 80. Okay, pretty easy. Next one. Lateral area, I don't know why I start putting half again. Our lateral area we found was 80 plus the area of the base, which our base is the square, and it is the side squared, which we did that up here. The side is 8. So I have 80 plus 8 squared. 8 squared is 64. 80 plus 64 is 144. Now remember, when it's talking about lateral area, it's talking about just the triangular faces that are standing up on the pyramid. When it's talking about surface area, it's talking about those triangles and the base added together. It's every face of the pyramid. Lateral area is just the sides that connect the bases together. Surface area is all the sides, including the bases. Okay. So our pyramids, kind of easy like the cones were. Hopefully.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. You'll notice we started with the harder ones first. We did the prisms first. Those were the hardest. Then the cylinders were a little bit easier. Cones were a little bit. Now we're doing pyramids. Okay. So we started with the harder ones. All right. So for number 2, same formulas for all of these. Okay. So my volume is 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. So I have 1/3, I'll move the camera in just a minute, times the area of the base. The base on here is 16. Okay. So I have 16 squared, and then my height. Now on this one, it's kind of hard to tell which one is which. The height that's on the inside is actually the 15. It's just they didn't do a very good job labeling it. Okay. But the 15 is next to the one that's going up and down inside, so that's your height of the pyramid. So you have 1/3 times 16 squared times 15. So you get a big number, multiply this out. Remember I told you your calculator's handy?
Yeah, I got 1280.
1,280. Because 16 squared, whoops if I hit the right button. 16 squared was 256. And then 1/3 of 15 I know is 5. So I took 256 times 5 and got 1,280. Okay. Now my lateral area, remember the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So I have 1/2 times the base of the triangle is 4 times the length of a side, because we're doing the perimeter of it, times the height, the slant height of the pyramid is the 17. Okay, it's the 17. So that's what we're working on for the lateral area. So 4 times 16, 64. Half of 64 is 32. 32 times 17. Getting 544 for my lateral area. Okay, Pedro, she still couldn't get on there? Or you haven't heard anything else?
No, she haven't said nothing else.
Okay.
I'm gonna send her a message right now.
All right, now our surface area, remember, takes your lateral area, which was 544, and we add it to the area of the base, which was the side squared, and in this case, that's 16 squared. Now, 16 squared, I said up here when I was doing the volume, was 256. So we have 544 plus 256. So I got 800 for my surface area. Do y'all agree with me?
Yep.
Pretty easy.
Yep.
Okay. Now, for next one that we're doing is number 3. Now, it looks a little different because it's slanted. They sometimes call these oblique, okay, because instead of going straight up and down the way they drew it, it's leaning, okay? So instead of having the height for the pyramid drawn on the inside, you see that they actually showed it on the outside of the figure. But when it goes straight up and down, then that's trying to tell you it goes straight from the vertex down to the base. So this is our main height that we'll use for our volume. And then the other one that's actually on the side of one of the triangles is your slant height. So you just got to make sure you know how to look at the problem and know which measurement is which. Okay? So let's look at number 3. On number 3, we're doing the same thing. We're starting with our volume. Our volume is 1/3 times the area of the base. So on this one, you look at your square. The sides of the square are 14. And then the height of the whole thing, I told you, was the one that's standing up down outside. So that's 24. Now 14 squared is 196. And then I know 1/3 of 24 is 8. 3 goes to 24 8 times. So I take 196 times 8. I got this for my volume. I'll see if you agree with me. Okay. Now, when I'm doing my lateral area, remember, they're triangular faces. So area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So I have 1/2. The perimeter of the base, which is 4 times the length of the side, which was 14, times the slant height, which is the height of the triangles on the side, which it looks like it is a 25 on the picture. Yeah, it's a 25. So I have 1/2 times 4 times 14 times 25. So I usually do what's in parentheses first because it's called order of operations that we're supposed to follow. And so then I take 1/2 times 56 times 25. And somebody check me, I got 700.
Yep. Got the same thing.
Okay. So are these pretty easy too, compared to what we were doing? Okay, because all of these pyramids have the same base. Now, tomorrow, when we're kind of reviewing all of them that we've done, our prisms, our cylinders, our cones, and our pyramids, I'll throw in a couple that have a different shape base so you can see how you do those. Okay, but I wanted to make sure we got our basics of our formulas down first before we do that. Okay, So for our surface area is the lateral area plus the area of the base. So I have 700 plus the 14 squared, which we'd already said 14 squared was 196. So 700 plus 196 is 896 for my surface area. Okay. So we've so far done 1, 2, and 3, your first row on your pyramids worksheet. So everybody needs to make sure they have those down. Okay. Now you'll notice I skipped to number 6. Number 6, I wanted to make sure that's one of them I did with you because it has a fraction in there, and I know how much y'all love fractions or decimals. So I wanted to do that one with you. We're still doing the same concept. For your volume, it's 1/3 times the area of the base, which on number 6, the base sides of the square are 7. So I have 7 squared times my height. My height is the one on the inside, which is 12. And I just multiply that together. So I know 7 squared is 49. So I have 1/3 times 49 times 12. I'm getting 196 for my volume for number 6. Now, when you go to try to do your lateral area, remember it doesn't use the height of the pyramid, it uses the height of the triangles that are on the sides. So I have 1/2 times my perimeter of the base, which is 4 times 7, times the slant height, which this is the one that was the fraction, the 25 halves. That's why I wanted to do that one with you. Okay, so that's what I have so far. Now, for me, when I have fractions like that, I try to reduce it in my head first. So like up here, what I did is I took 1/3 times 12, 3 goes into 12 4 times. I went ahead and canceled that in my head. So when I multiplied, I took 49 times 40 in my answer. Okay, on here, when I see these 2's, I know these 2's will cancel out the 4. Now, if you've got a calculator, you can still just type it in, this times this times this, and get your answer, okay? But I look for ways I can simplify before I'm using my calculator, because that's just, I didn't get to use a calculator until I got to pre-calculus. So when I was at school. So I got used to doing it in my head first. Okay, so I know 2 goes into 4 twice. I know 2 goes into 2, so that cancels out. So basically, I'm left with 7 times 25. So 7 times 25, think about in terms of money. If you got 7 quarters, you got $1.75, 175. Okay. Like I said, if you went on and just multiplied it using your calculator, you would got the same thing. Now for my surface area is my lateral area answer plus the area of the base, which was 7 squared, which I was going ahead and put in the answer. So I have 175 plus 49. Which is 224. Okay. So make sure everybody's got number 6. Now I'm skipping number 7 and I'm going to number 8 because I wanted to make sure I did number 8 because it's got a radical in there in the problem. Doesn't have a fraction, but it has a radical. So that's something else that's a little bit different. I want to make sure you knew how to multiply by it. So we're on number 8, which is the middle of the 3rd row. We start off by 1/3 times the area of the base. The base is a 2 by 2 square. So I have 2 squared times the height of the pyramid inside is labeled 1. Okay, so when you go to multiply this one, 2 squared is 4. So I have 1/3 times 4 times 1. Well, 4 times 1 is 4. So I have 1/3 times 4. I get a fraction for my answer. That is okay. You can have fractions. Just because you may not like it doesn't mean you can't have it as an answer. Okay. So that's for my volume. Now my lateral area is 1/2 times the perimeter of the base, 4 times 2, because each side was 2, times the slant height. Now your slant height, remember, is the one that's on the triangle that's leaning up the side of the pyramid. So that was the one that was our square root of 2. Okay? So I look for things. 4 times 2 is 8. 1/2 of 8 is 4. So 4 times square root of 2 is simply 4 square root of 2. You can't actually multiply these together because one's outside the radical, one's underneath. So you write them right next to each other. Okay. We use our lateral area answer to find our surface area. So I have 4 square root of 2 here, plus the area of the base, which was 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. Now we talked about this a lot last week. If I have something that has a radical and something that doesn't have a radical, can I actually add those together? Yes or no? I'm shaking my head no. I should agree with me. No, okay? You can't multiply.
No.
No, thank you. Somebody finally woke up. Okay, so you can't add those together. So what we do though, which one usually is written first? The one with the radical or the one without?
With?
Nope. The one
No.
with is usually written first. So it will be 4 plus 4 square root of 2. They usually write the number that did not have the radical on it first. Okay, this is just considered the proper notation when you're dealing with complex numbers. Okay?
Miss Baham, she was not able to log in.
Well, what's she doing?
I don't know.
All right. So, everybody at that? Yes? Number 8. Remember, I wanted to do that one because it was a little weird. Okay, now you'll notice the next one that I skipped to is number 11. So number 11 is the last one that we're doing, because for those of you that logged in early or on time, I told you we're not doing number 12. See, you can draw a line through number 12. You don't have to do number 12. Okay, so we're doing number 11. For number 11, we have 1/3 times the area of the base. If you look at the square, it is a 3 by 3 square. So 1/3 times 3 squared times my height of the entire pyramid. It's not the fraction one because that's pointing to this height on the triangle on the side. It's the one that's showing straight up and down from the vertex to the base, which was 2. So I have 1/3 times 3 squared times 2. So 3 squared is 9. 1/3 of 9 is 3, so 3 times 2 is 6. So its volume is just 6. Okay. Lateral area is the area of the 4 triangles that make up the sides of the pyramid. So I have 1/2 times the perimeter of the base, which is 4 times 3, times the slant height, which that's the one that's on the triangle, which was 5/2. So this is similar to what I did up here when I had the fraction on number 6, okay? Personally, I see those 2's in the bottom, and 2 times 2 is 4. I know they cancel out the 4 there. So I've got 3 times 5. I get my lateral area is 15. If you want, you could have still just typed it in the calculator and still got 15 for your answer. Okay, so that's the area of the 4 triangles going around the pyramid. Now we take those 4 triangles going around the pyramid and we add the square that's on the bottom to get our total surface area, the area of all the sides, all the faces of the pyramid. So 3 squared is 9. So 15 plus 9 is 24. Okay. So everyone should make sure that they have their work and answers for number 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, and 11. Okay. Everybody should have 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, and 11. Okay. Everybody got all that?
Yeah.
Okay. So what
Yes,
else?
ma'am.
What? Why are you all yelling at me? So what I want you to do now is I want everybody to go back and do number 7. On your own, try number 7, and then we'll go over them and check your answers.
I need help.
Why?
I don't know.
That's good.
Miss, what are you putting on your grass? It's growing so fast.
It's called it rained. We haven't put anything on our grass.
You sure it's rain or you're putting some ingredients to your...
No, we haven't done anything to it. Trust me. Ron doesn't have to pay you any more than he has to.
Wow.
Anybody getting any answers? All right. So let's just get it set up right first. Okay. So I'm going to call on people so I can tell you you need to be ready. So you know what's going on when I say your name. Don't be like, huh? What? Okay. So first of all, for number 7, Mia, what is the sides on your base in that picture?
48.
Hush. What'd you say, Mia?
I don't know.
The base, the square at the bottom. What's the length of its sides?
$48.
So your formula is 1/3 times the area of the base, which is the side of the square, times the height of the pyramid. So the height of the pyramid in number 7, is that going to be 25 or is that going to be the 7? Height of the pyramid, the 25 or the 7?
Wow, I was looking at the wrong one.
Michael, which one's the height of the pyramid, the 25 or the 7? On number 7.
My bad. The 7.
The 7. The 7 is the height of the pyramid. So the height of the pyramid is the one that you use for the bottom. So this would have been your formula for the volume. So you have 48 squared, which is 2.4. Okay. So then you have that times 1/3 times 7. And you get big number. I got 5,376.
That's what I got too.
Me
So
too.
that's for your volume, okay? Now, when you're talking about the lateral area, you're talking about the 4 triangles that make the sides of the pyramid. So your formula starts out 1/2 times the perimeter of the base. So it's 4 times the side of a base, which was the 48, times the slant height. So Kernaya, what was the slant height in number 7?
25.
25. So you have 1/2 times 4 times 48 times 25. So for that one, what are y'all getting?
$2,400.
2,400, 2,400. Now that was my lateral area. So for my total surface area, I take my lateral area, 1,400, and I add the area of the base. Remember, our bases are square, so to find the area of the square, you take the length of its side squared. So I have 2,400 plus 48 squared. Now we had already figured out 48 squared up here when I was solving my volume. It was 2,304. So I'm adding 2,400 to 2,304. So I get my total surface area,
4704.
Yep, 4704.
Okay, so that is finding your volume, your lateral area, and your surface area for square pyramids. All of these that we've been doing today are square pyramids. Their base is a square. Okay, so we have done most of the problem. The only ones that we have not done is we did not do number 4, number 5, number 9, and number 10, right?
Yep.
Okay, so what do you think you need to try to do?
Homework.
Do the rest of the problems.
Okay, so you need to try to do those. Now, you were supposed to have tried to have finished the cylinders worksheet yesterday. Yeah. Okay. Now, I personally would have done it Monday while I still remembered how to do everything before I forgot it, so I wouldn't have to work on it on Monday. And we didn't have Zoom lessons, but I'm sure some of you did not. Okay, but if you did finish the cones worksheet and you would like to show that to me before you log off today, just let me know and I will spotlight your video so you can hold it up there and see the work for it. So I can give you credit that you did that when you were supposed to do it. If you hadn't finished it yet, then when you finish it and your pyramids, then you can either just send both of those to me or show both of them to me tomorrow. Now, remember, tomorrow we're going to be reviewing all these that we've been doing, and then you can take a quiz, which I will message you as an attachment tomorrow. And the reason I'm messaging it to you as an attachment because of the pictures, okay, because with the pictures of the shapes, it's not going to be long, okay, but that way, yeah, the pictures, and then you can just type your answers like we talked about the other day. Okay, so I'm gonna, if you've got your paper and you want to show it to me, you can hold it up. Otherwise, you're free to go. Make sure you finish these problems, and I can see them tomorrow. Okay, so Javier, you were holding something up a minute ago. Did you want to show me your cones work?
No, that
Oh.
was the other one.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Ms. Paham. Bye.
Yeah, Pedro.
Now.
Didn't I tell you to stay the other day?
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. Because where you had your
I had it to go, Miss.
Yeah. You had to go eat?
No, I had to go work.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what are you trying to show me? Bye, Pedro.
Bye. Bye, Michael. See you, friend.
All right, Pedro.
He's a mess.
Bye, cuz.
What are you
I did all the stuff right here.
Okay. It looks like your camera froze. I'll see your hand over your thing. Let's
Oh.
see if it comes out.